The faithless electors trying to teach America a civics lesson get schooled at Colorado's Capitol.
Not your program.
Stating that
Thank you, sir.
Their failed attempt at an uprising, and my thoughts on our wholly unproductive discussion about our democracy. Not to get philosophical, but does it really matter if the train to the plane doesn't work? Because if you're flying Frontier, you're probably toast anyway. If you drive, this kind viewer would really prefer that you don't kill him or anyone else.
I could write 1,000 words about the guy who almost hit me while he was talking on the phone on Peoria.
His proposal tonight. Our experts on the Broncos and the weather think that one of the two is about to heat up. And unique war paint for the battle of a lifetime. All that is next.
If you haven't seen the musical Hamilton, I will not spoil the ending. The ending for the Hamilton electors today hasn't been nearly as exciting. That's what they like to call themselves, the Hamilton electors. It's probably because faithless electors makes them sound like some rogue vigilantes running roughshod over our elections, which incidentally is what the court said when they ordered those same electors to come to our state capitol today and to do their duty under Colorado law, to cast their votes mirroring the vote of the people.
Alexander Hamilton always intended the electors to vote their conscience.
The former senator sued in federal court and lost.
There you go, both sides in 5 seconds. Former State Senator Polly Baca found herself in a box with a ballot containing only one box with Hillary Clinton's name by it. She reluctantly checked it. For all the bluster and all the lawsuits, she fell in line. But only one of Colorado's electors, that man, Michael Baca, no relation to Polly, tried to buck the system. Michael's been outspoken since he appeared on Next weeks ago, insisting that our system needs a good bucking. He says that today he wrote in John Kasich. The state promptly declared his ballot null and void and then swore in a new elector to replace him. Colorado may or may not prosecute Michael Baca for that. He could face a year in jail and a $1,000 fine. There, his lawyer tried to commandeer the proceeding today, quite unsuccessfully. That's the Secretary of State who sent him packing.
The Chief Justice.
the 10th Circuit being the federal Court of Appeals that governs the state of Colorado.
Counsel, you're free to visit with your client.
Issued an opinion.
This is not your program.
Stating that
Thank you, sir.
attempt.
This is not your program. Baca's protest vote didn't count. Wasn't really even a vote, actually. He wrote in that name, so then under state law, out he went. All 9 of Colorado's electoral votes went to Hillary Clinton because she won the state. The faithless elector protest votes nationwide didn't change the outcome of the election. And if we're being honest, the entire discussion about the Electoral College and the faithless electors was a lot more heat than light. Same with the conversations about the popular vote versus the Electoral College. The problem is that America only stops to consider the quirks of our system during and immediately after a closely contested election season, when passions are high, when so many people have trouble seeing beyond which system worked best or would have worked best for their preferred candidate. What do you say we set a collective alarm on our phones for the year 2018 and sit down then to discuss the wisdom of the Electoral College and whether or not we have faith in our system? If Next is on the air, then we'll have that conversation right here. On to more important matters now than the future of American elections. Things like, is the A-line working today? You think we only check on the days when it's not working? No, we check on the days that it's working, like today. Boy, the A-line just picked a terrible time, though, to do a faceplant over the weekend. Stranded passengers out into the bitter cold waiting for buses to shuttle them to the airport. Or there are the people who just decided to abandon RTD altogether and get a taxi, Uber, or Lyft to get out to the airport. RTD, by the way, does not refund your fare if they strand you along the A-line route and then you have to pay for another ride in order to catch your flight in time. Of course, it didn't really matter when Frontier Airlines passengers got to the airport. They weren't going anywhere anyway. Frontier had major issues at DIA as well as other airports. Passengers complained to us that decent customer service couldn't be had, not even if you were willing to pay for it, like you do on Frontier for your checked bags, carry-on bags, snacks, legroom, assigned seats, pets, flight changes, name changes, booking over the phone, or asking for a receipt. Maybe we should just drive everywhere. If only we could convince our fellow drivers to drive, instead of burying their heads in their phones with texts and emails. You've certainly heard this before, but a Next viewer, Greg Stant, offers a passionate plea as well as a proposal. It's a new view and one that we think is worth sharing.
I propose a ban on handheld cell phones between 3 and 6 p.m. on weekdays. Now, I could write 1,000 words about the frustrations of dealing with people who text, moving or at green lights, but that would be futile. I could write another 1,000-word about elected officials and their lack of legislative will in regard to automobile cell phone use. That's futile. I could write 10,000 words about the guy talking on the phone that almost hit me on Peoria. But in reality, who cares? I could write 10,000 words about our incessant need to be connected at all times and our willingness to trade our safety for that. But that would be like killing a dead person. I propose a ban on handheld cell phones between 3 and 6 p.m. on weekdays. And unlike our lack of present enforcement, I would like to see that it's enforced. The thought that I can get in a hurling 2,000-pound piece of metal at 60 miles per hour while I'm texting somebody about something that's innocuous and definitely can wait is the height of selfishness. We are, without a doubt, obsessed with our need to be connected to one another. So 3 to 6, put the phones down. See how it works. It might work for you. Be bored, sit in the car, listen to the radio, sing the wrong words, let people stare at you while you're doing it. But be bored.
The thoughts of next viewer Greg Stant, as seen through the lens of our producer Cody Broadway, the guy that's over there, real name, real talented. If you have something you want to say and have it heard by all of Colorado and you're ready to go Broadway, get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext or email next@9news.com.
Our next question came from a few Next viewers who all wondered if a fence isn't making for some tough sledding at Denver's popular Ruby Hill Park sledding hill.
In fact, Scott Yates says he saw several kids sled down that hill and smack into the wooden fence. Parks and Rec tells us the fence is a new installation, came in over the summer as part of a new bike area and walking path. The city says it didn't realize that it was much of a problem until we got in touch. So then the city went out and put in this. They put up temporary orange fencing, I guess, with some metal posts, thinking, well, the kids can hit that instead of the wood. I'm not sure if this is what you would call a solution or if we just swap problems, but, you know, at least it has the city's attention. So sled safe, kids. We are not theater critics here on Next, but we do respect a passion project when we see one. 13 is a series of monologues based on the experiences of 13 students who were inside Arapahoe High School December 13th, 2013, the day when a student walked into Arapahoe and killed a classmate. 18-year-old Kendall Meyer turned to her love of the theater to help her cope and heal what she saw and heard that day. Along with her friend, Scott Powell, she gathered the stories of other people who were also there, and she created a script for a staged reading that she hopes will bring awareness to the hope and strength of all mass shooting survivors.
It shows through in each of their characters that despite what happened, we're still living really great lives, and that with the power of art that we've used, that you can promote happiness and love and get through these really difficult times.
13 is not being performed for the general public at this point. It's going on tonight at the Denver Performing Arts Complex for a select audience of friends and family. Meyer does hope to get the survivor stories published so they can be shared more widely.
The airport this time of year is tension central. He's seen it all, and his job is to make sure that travelers, from the most famous to the most frazzled, pass through peacefully. Perhaps all this talk about the Broncos' wins and losses is missing the bigger picture. And there's no controlling Colorado's weather, not even with a sternly worded sign. Next.
Gather round, Broncos fans. There is plenty of room on our communal therapy couch this Monday. Let's talk about our feelings with our Broncos insider, Mike Kliss. Beginning with this, it's just not fun to watch Broncos games anymore.
Yes, losing is one thing. Losing when the offense isn't very good is another. People like to get entertained. They like to see points. But long gone are the 2013 Broncos when Peyton Manning was throwing the ball all over the yard. The Broncos set an NFL scoring record just 3 years ago, and yet just 3 points yesterday against the New England Patriots. Still, The offense wasn't very good last year, and Bronco fans had fun watching because the team won. It's still about the victory. If Von Miller was sacking the quarterback and getting strip sacks and recovering fumbles and scoring defensive touchdowns, people would still be entertained. Without that, though, it's all up to the offense. The offense just does not have any dynamite firepower in it, and it has been tough to watch. All these 3 and outs, Gary Kubiak basically taking a knee with 1:14 left to go in the first half. Very conservative, very boring. But if the Broncos can somehow win the next 2 games, which they'll probably have to do in order to get in, and even then they might not, but they have to win the next 2, and then I think people will be excited and entertained again as the playoffs begin.
I could listen to that guy all day. I'm meteorologist Kathy Saban. Not a bad way to start the week after a frigid weekend. And then there was this. Did you miss the sunset tonight? If you got a great shot, send that in and watch it later tonight on 9 News. We'll post those pictures for you. Our high today at 43 is about where we should be for this time of year. In the high country, it was cold, but there was also snow. Epic snow over a 2-day period. Anywhere from about 18 inches of snow to 25 inches of snow between A-Basin, Monarch, Telluride, and Wolf Creek. And we're not going to see much in the way of snow for Colorado for the upcoming week with high pressure anchored where it is. Storm track to the northwest. We say goodbye to the cold. There will be a fair amount of cloud cover overnight, acting like a blanket, keeping the overnight minimums up. And with the mix of clouds and sunshine tomorrow, you might think it would be cooler, but southwest winds are going to push temperatures above the average of 42 into the lower 50s, marking tomorrow as our warmest day of the week. And tonight, that's not a high temperature. That's our low. We have not seen a low this mild in quite some time. So we'll bottom out in the lower 20s and then warm tomorrow rather quickly with gusty winds out of the southwest. A mix of clouds and sunshine, a colder but dry day Wednesday, warmer Thursday and Friday, and we have a chance of snow for the upcoming holiday weekend. Wouldn't that be something?
Kathy, thanks. Kindness and generosity snowball. You know, they gather speed and size as they go. Take, for instance, the DPD airport officer profiled on Next when he pulled out his own credit card to help a stranded traveler get home. Now, inspired by his story, a veterans organization is pulling out its wallet to help another group at the airport that shares that officer's goal: kindness and hospitality.
I interact with the various entities within Denver International Airport.
USO?
Yeah, USO, straight there to your left.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My name is Henry Oscar Jones Jr. I'm a community resource officer assigned out here at Denver International Airport. My primary job is to do dignitary and VIP escorts.
Today we're here to present a check on behalf of Officer Henry Jones to the USO in the amount of $500.
I'm just overwhelmed. It's just...
Then we found out that a few months ago he came across a young soldier who was trying to get home for a funeral.
While she was at Fort Carson, she went and booked a ticket on her iPad, and she used what she thought was a legitimate booking site, and it turned out to be a fraudulent site, and she used her debit card.
She was stuck in DIA at the time and did not have the money for a plane ticket.
So eventually what I did was the right thing to do is I took my credit card, or credit card, and charged it.
On behalf of Officer Henry Jones, Denver Police Department, Chapter 365, Military Order of the Purple Heart, I'd like to present this check to the USO Denver Airport.
What he did for her, speaking with her, it meant a lot to her.
It was no question for me because I grew up in an Army family. My father was enlisted.
That worked out pretty good.
Yeah, so I understand how much a private makes in the military. That means a lot to me. She was able to pay her respects to her grandfather. She was able to go to the funeral, and it was my honor to take care of her and to pay it forward.
It's a sign, one that seems more aspirational than enforceable, really. This is airport related as well. Kyle Helly was trying to help some friends get home to South Dakota after a canceled Frontier flight when they spotted this sign at the car rental place. No snow here, please. We understand what they're going for. They're trying to warn plow drivers about the hydrant, but that did make us smile. No snow here, please. If only it were that easy. Kyle and his friends wondered if maybe it wasn't a secret plea from Frontier Airlines as well.
As chemotherapy changes bodies, a woman looks to change them in another very powerful way. And we celebrate your holiday fails at a home where family is a dirty word, albeit a pretty harmless one. Next. Some cancer patients undergoing chemotherapy are seeing a new specialist. She's based in Erie. She travels to meet patients on the Front Range. She's not a doctor, doesn't even work in the medical field. She's an artist. And we meet her through the lens of photojournalist Ann Herbst.
Susan Fortney.
No, I trust you.
Never thought of her head as a canvas.
So I might as well embrace it.
Then again,
that's scary time.
Nothing about the last 6 months has felt normal.
I found a lump. I don't have any family history of breast cancer. When I started chemotherapy, your biggest fear is losing your hair. How do you talk to people about it when it's hard to talk about having cancer?
So Susan found Leah Riddell.
Yes.
Whose art helps do the talking.
And I felt like I can show my head. I can walk outside and it's something to talk about and not just talk about the chemotherapy and the cancer life.
Leah's a henna artist.
I think that henna definitely appeals to the doodler in me.
But these temporary lines go far beyond the average scribble.
It's a trying time, so it's something fun to do. It's a way to embrace a bald head.
This was not your grandma's chemotherapy experience, right?
No.
Leah has all sorts of clients, but people like Susan are some of her favorites.
You know how people tend to tell their hairdressers?
Yes, you're
Important?
a little bit like a therapist, actually. I just think it's a beautiful way to celebrate such a hard time in somebody's life.
Susan's finding small positives along the way.
That I have saved money on highlighting, actually. That has helped.
Thank God.
Yeah. And haircuts, too, I guess, for that matter.
She's inspired to move into the next part of her story.
Swimming through this unexpected journey.
A bit like the new art she now wears on her head.
You know, I'm going to be stronger in the end for it.
For next.
Oh, my God, it looks amazing.
This is Ann Herbst.
I love these.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
Because someone is asking, we should mention that the henna that Leah uses is all natural. It's safe to use on cancer patients. You can learn more about her process in this story on 9news.com. Well, we will leave the big shiny holiday light displays to the big shiny other newscasts. We will celebrate the smaller, sometimes imperfect ways that we celebrate the holidays. Next, one family, 4 stockings, and a message not typically associated with Christmas.
Everything doesn't have to be perfect for the holidays. I don't care what your mother-in-law says. It's the thought that counts. The whole damn family knows that. The Bagleys in Rifle, near Glenwood. Danny and Anna have been calling themselves the damn family since they had their 3-year-old Mike. Their baby, naturally, was Nate. Anna wrote to us that she saw the monogram stockings at the store and just had to do it. After all, they already signed their cards. Love, the damn Bagleys. Share your family's unique holiday tradition or the holiday fail that you've come to love. Email next@9news.com or use the hashtag HeyNext.
Your feedback now. KH Falcons emails, solution for safe sledding at Ruby Hill Park. Why not just put some straw bales down at the bottom? Let the kids run into those. That probably makes way too much sense for it to actually happen. We'll suggest it to the city. Roxana Walker writes, finally got to see Next. This was great. Julie Short, bring back 9 News at 6. This show stinks, with 7 exclamation points. I don't know, 1 for 2. Take that any day of the week. That's what I'm talking about. See you next time.